Well, good morning again, everybody. Welcome to the Team Excellence Call. This is Lynn, Gardner, calling in from beautiful Virginia. It's a rainy day today at the farm, but everything's beginning to get that rich green color all over again after we've had a little dry spell here. So all is well. It's beautiful, and it doesn't do any good to whine about the weather, right? I'm enjoying the day. But, last night there was a tremendous storm here, and I love storms. And so, as usual, I watched at least part of it, from the front porch of the farm. And as I sat there watching the wind and the rain and lightning and the thunder all come into play, I considered all that it takes to put together a storm. Did you know, for instance, that there are 1,800 thunderstorms that take place across the planet every day? I mean, that's astounding to think about. And, I think it's really cool to think about lightning. Lightning is an electrical current, of course. And, within the thunder clouds way up in the sky, many tiny little bits of ice, almost like frozen raindrops, start bumping into each other as they move around in the air. And as they collide, they create that electrical charge. And after a while, the whole cloud fills up with these little electrical charges, and the positive charges of the protons form at the top of the cloud, and the negative charges of the electrons form at the bottom of the cloud. That should sound familiar to you guys. Since opposites attract, that causes a positive charge to build up on the ground beneath the cloud. How cool is that? So when the two connect, the two attract, is when we hear thunder. When we see lightning. And it's just astounding, right? It's just when you see the zap of lightning. Think about all that it took to make that happen. So how fascinating it is to consider a thunderstorm, at least from where I'm sitting. And, just the right atmospheric pressure, just the right temperatures, just the right amount of moisture. Lots of things must work together to create that perfect storm, right? And so it is with our business. It isn't any different to create the perfect storm. So the message and title today is The Perfect Storm. There are countless things that we can call attention to when it comes to the great journey that we're on, and justifiably so. We have a sound and a reputable company and owners of integrity. We have amazing products and technology. We have an unbeatable comp plan. We have wonderful people and a wonderful mission. These are all a blessing, and they are all, so many of these factors are the reason so many people join our mission and stay here year after year after year. I mean, what's not to like, right? All these things are things that we should be thankful for. But there are some things that I want to call your attention to today beyond what might be obvious to you. The perfect storm that we're in the midst of that should motivate you to not just keep moving, but to run like you have never run before and not being willing to stop. We're going to go beyond the magic this morning, and we're going to look at your potential from a different view, a perfect storm kind of view. So what is a perfect storm when we're, looking at the world or we're looking at business? What do I mean by that? Well, a perfect storm is an expression that we use that describes, an event where there's a rare combination of factors or circumstances that aggravate a situation dramatically. The term is used to describe really what is a phenomenon, that happens. It happens because so many different things are influencing this change right at the right time. So just like a storm that we see outside, many factors come into play to create the perfect storm that eventually will lead to unbelievable results or change. And that's where we are, folks, and that's what I want you to focus on today. So I ask that you bear with me as I walk you through it. We are in a perfect storm in our business, and there are several factors that indicate that we're in the right place at the right time. You may have heard that ever since you started, but I'm telling you, if there's never a time to really be focusing on that, it's right now. So I'm going to share a few of those things with you this morning in hopes of encouraging you and in hopes of having you consider more deeply, more seriously, more profoundly what you have your hands on. The first is, of course, familiar to all of us, and that is that the health and wellness industry is a trillion-dollar business. In 2016, analysts reported that the global wellness economy reached $3.7 trillion. And not only that, but growth is expected to accelerate by 17% in the next 5 years. So that whole health and wellness thing is completely off the charts, globally, and it's only getting bigger. In 2017, the same analysts predicted that there would be tremendous opportunity for marketers of anything that was health and wellness related. So, it's health and wellness has, in their eyes, the analysts, tag it as a trend. Let me give you an example of something that you may be able to relate to as you look at things changing in that kind of world, right? And we're going to talk about Perrier for just a minute, but let me give you some history that leads up to the perfect storm. And frankly, Perrier was the leader in selling bottled water, to be honest with you. So let's look at that history that leads up to it. First of all, people have always, since the beginning of time, to go back to biblical days, they have always been concerned about having healthy drinking water. Did you know that medicinal water has been around forever, pretty much? Bottled water predates America's independence. We just celebrated that. But in 1767, bottled water was sold for quote-unquote medicinal purposes by Jackson Spa in Boston for, catch this, $1.75 a pint. In 1767, you think something was different about the water that was flowing through there? You bet there was. By 1856, another 7 million bottles was being produced every year at Saratoga Springs for medicinal purposes. Bottled water, though, they were on a rise there, right? But bottled water and the medicinal water, if you will, lost its appeal in the early 20th century when chlorinated municipal tap water was introduced to us as a solution and a safe solution, okay? So in 1977, I want you to think about this. It's 40 years ago. The World Health Organization warned us and said, wait a minute, time out. You guys are setting us all up for complete disaster for our health, taking into consideration the chemicals, the known carcinogens. World Health Organization went out there big and said, time out. Y'all need to be careful what you're drinking, right? The allure of health and image fueled the bottled water comeback. And Perrier is the one that can be credited for that. Perrier was brilliant. If you think back, you saw that it was a tremendous opportunity for them. The Perrier, and get this, now 1977, again, 40 years ago, they saw fear factor as a business opportunity. People worried about their water, right? And they launched a $5 million marketing campaign in the U.S. You know how much money $5 million was in 1977? But they saw the opportunity. See, they wanted to appeal to people and to address the fear factor, but they also were dealing with the people that like lifestyle images. The yuppies, I was one of them, okay? We like that lifestyle image, in fact, anybody at that time, anybody that was cool drank Perrier. If you went out to lunch or dinner, I didn't even like that stuff, okay? But I wanted to be cool, so I had Perrier sitting on the table. So they were appealing to that. Those yuppies are the baby boomers today. And our attraction for trends has transitioned across the generation. So those yuppies eventually grew up, and they got married, and they had children, and both parents were working in a lot of cases. And it was my generation that fueled the microwave sales, the prepackaged foods, the drive-through restaurant, and the bottled water, all for the sake of time and convenience. So the rest, as they say, is history. But Perrier was part of a perfect storm. They recognized it, and they ran with it. So I want you to think about these things, too. Number two is alternative medicine is on the rise. This study said that the natural first approach is particularly appealing to millennials. 70% of them say that they use herbal remedies, and 68% of them have tried homeopathic cures. So, these things are on the rise. And, again, the more natural approach, the integrative medicine, if you will, they're adding more and more and more of the alternative medicine out there because there's a demand for it, guys. It's not just coincidence, right? Number three is more attention is given to water by big business. They see what I'm sharing with you today, and they're reacting to the perfect storm. Water dominates more real estate and grocery stores than any other product. Next time you go in there, think about it. Take a look at what you see. And it's not there because they hope to sell it. It's there because they know they'll sell it. Bottled water companies are popping up everywhere, and some of the traditional bottled water companies are putting new labels on what they sell. You're going to see more and more alkaline waters being introduced, and even Deer Park is now adding bicarbonate soda to its water to, for taste, as they say, to neutralize them. You have to watch out for that when you do a demo because you're going to start seeing neutral water come out of a Deer Park bottle. Smart water commercial, wow. I was watching something the other day. I was actually on Netflix, NBC on Netflix, and I saw a commercial that I couldn't, rewind and repeat. But this commercial was for smart water. And you talk about, I have a marketing background, so sometimes I look at things differently, but it was brilliant marketing. It had this really soft female voice and these clouds in the sky implying that, we're going to collect all the water from the clouds and put it in a bottle. They talked a little tiny second about it being pure. And the last line in the smart water commercial was ionized for taste. Now, I'll tell you something. If that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what will. Americans are now drinking astonishing amounts of bottled water. In 2015, we bought the equivalent of 1.7 billion half-liter bottles of water every single week. Now, that's more than 5 bottles of water for every man, woman, and child in the country every single week of the year. A typical family of 4 is going through one of those, 24-pack shrink-wrap, water bottles, cases, if you will, each week. Bottled water sales in 2015 rose almost 3 times faster than the entire market for any other liquid refreshment. And bottled water rose even as sales for carbonated drinks fell to the lowest level, frankly, since 1985. So we are making a difference, right? The bottom line is it's massive business. It's not by mistake, and it only makes what we have more attractive out there to the consumer. Number 4, America is waking up to the importance of being alkaline. Again, you'll see more and more alkaline waters being sold, and for very good reason. Products always follow consumer trends. When you see more and more of a product hitting the market, rest assured, it's not that the manufacturer's just rolling the dice to try something new. It's because they know the consumer is demanding it, and they feel that need, and so do we. A good example of that is like the gluten-free craze, and I'll refrain from commenting on that. But, you'll see more and more gluten-free menus in restaurants because of the craze, right? The restaurant owner, I don't mean to be offensive, but the restaurant owner doesn't really care about your health. That's not what they're doing. They care about sales, and they're stepping up to meet the demand of the consumer. One of my friends shared with me recently that she purchased an 11-ounce pouch of hydrogen-infused water. So apparently they have infused an 11-ounce patch with hydrogen gas, right? $2.49 in the grocery store. Well, you know what? When it was tested, when it first opened up, it was tremendously negative ORP. But that lasted like 20 minutes or so, and it was completely gone. So the whole theory being, well, great. If you can buy, what is one pouch going to change your health? Probably not, right? And so what are we looking at? They need to buy 10 pouches a day for $2.49 and suck them down within the first 5 minutes? That's not going to happen. So you see, they're trying to address the market. They're trying to fill that need. They're catching on. Believe me, it's time to run like you have never run before. Manufacturers see the consumers want alkaline, so they're trying to package up lies, frankly, and they'll sell them whatever they say they want. Well, you and I both know the FDA doesn't test the water that goes into bottles, and if not for us, consumers aren't testing what they're buying. But the manufacturers say if that's what they want, stick a label on it. And if you're inclined to think that they won't be deceptive, think again. Because most of the bottles that you see out there have some sort of natural something on them, some spring or, it doesn't matter. Poland Springs doesn't mean it came out of Poland Spring, right? And so, they absolutely will twist it and turn it in every way they can to try to meet the needs of the consumer. So the consumers are looking for answers, guys, and we have the answer, okay? And they're spending the stinking fortune. If you're inclined to say, well, people can't afford these things, then you need to listen very carefully to what I'm sharing with you today, because they absolutely can. It's just a matter of us redirecting where they're spending. Number 5 is the bleeding has to stop in more ways than one. How much money is too much money for people to be spending on bottled water? Whatever it is that they're inclined to be buying, they're going to be buying it for the rest of their lives. And we know what they're actually buying, right? It doesn't matter to so many people that you're talking to, and that's a source of frustration, I know, when you're trying to talk about, ionized water and health and all that. So many of them, frankly, they don't care if it's good or not. And what we need to focus on is it makes no financial sense whatsoever to do what they're doing. We need to be addressing that as much, or maybe sometimes with some people even more than we are on improved health. These people flock into the store buying regular bottled water, are so clueless about health, and then there's a huge market for the alkaline water. They care about health. They just don't know what we have, right? How much pollution is enough pollution? Where's the garbage going? And I have fun, really. It's not nice of me, but I do have fun when I do a presentation, and I enlighten people on recycling. People think that because they're being responsible and putting their bottles in a nice blue container that it's going to recycling. But only 20% of that is ever making it to recycling. Why? Because there's not a market for the recycling. For years, or the first years at least, we were selling our used plastic to China, shipping it across the world. How that ever made any sense, I don't know. But China, finally, the mom and pop recycler said, time out, we don't want any more. It's polluting our water. So most of what we're getting in that blue container is being dumped in with everything else in the landfill. How much pollution is enough pollution? Where's the garbage going? It's going to the next generations, and those of us on this call need to be concerned as much about each other and our health, but probably more so about what's coming down the pike. How much is enough pollution? Recycling's misunderstood. People don't understand it. So when you look at all these factors, people are already spending more than ever. They already are spending the money, folks. Don't lie to yourself and say they can't afford this. They absolutely can. This is the first thing in my life I've ever seen that where there's a will, there's a way. You may not like things like company finance. You may not want to wait to get paid, but where there's a will, there's a way. So, the food and beverage companies acknowledge that water is now our biggest trend. So where are we with that? We're seeing it everywhere. We're seeing the world wake up to wellness and alkalinity, and we're seeing the trends. People follow the trends. We are absolutely in a perfect storm. Health and wellness is a huge marketing arm that we use, but finances are too. So when we're talking to people about finances, it's not always that they're going to jump on board and want to make some more money, right? Sometimes it's just getting them to be wise about the money they're spending. But we're talking about finances, and we're talking about the trends, and we're talking about the environment, and we can't afford to ignore any of the components that are in place for the perfect storm. So will you keep boundaries around your business? And will you choose to solely talk about improved health in a world where, people are flocking to spend money that really aren't thinking about their health? Don't they need help too? They do. And you know what? The joke will be on them when they invest in something just for financial reasons and they see the benefits to their health, right? So will you choose to just have tunnel vision? Or will you face this perfect storm equipped to do real serious battle? Will you embrace the need for change in all areas? And will you get your piece of that big pie? Because I'm going to tell you, the abundance that's going to come through this perfect storm is immeasurable. We need change in every single area. We need change for health, of course, but we need change for finances and for the environment. And we need change for those trend seekers that are willing to write a check and pull out a credit card for any other alkaline water they see on a shelf. So you can, and it's a good thing to do, to work with people one by one to improve their health. It's good. It's rewarding. It's our core mission, no doubt about it. But you might miss the perfect storm if you don't see all the components, or if you fail to understand what makes the consumer tick. The sky is the limit. The conditions are set, and believe me, the time is right now. We don't just have the best health and wellness tool available in the market today. We have the ideal solution to get a huge piece of that pie that's out there, and we need to chase that perfect storm. So will you position for the perfect storm? I sure hope so. My desire is that this brief focus on the business side of business has opened your eyes, and I hope that you will integrate some of these conditions from the perfect storm into your business beginning right now. We see people get frustrated because our heart is right. We're out there and we're talking about health and what they're drinking and all that, but there's so much more going on, again, that they may not focus on that. They may not buy into plastic's dangerous and whatever else. They may just buy into this makes financial sense, and it's a perfect time to do it. When you look at it that way, the way I've attempted to outline it to you today, the sky truly is the limit, and the possibilities are astronomical. The time is now to reap the harvest that's going to come through this perfect storm. So now I hope that you'll go ponder what I've shared and position for the storm. And I really hope that you'll share this message with your team. Take some of the pieces and share it with the prospects that you're talking to that you hope will latch on to our business. If you find a business builder, rest assured what I've shared with you today will make their toes curl because they will see the potential for them out there. Believe me, business builders will see it, and they'll want a piece of that pie. Great things are coming, and I want great things for you and for me, beginning with this new day. So you guys go make it a great day, make it a perfect storm. I'll see you at the top. I'll see you next week. You guys take care. Bye-bye.